Good morning, David.
Good morning, Mayor.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. Thanks for coming back. This morning, my name is Roland Hall, and I'm the mayor of Wabasha currently. And if nothing else, I believe a mayor should be a cheerleader. And for the reason that I'm wearing the hat this morning, as a small town of 2,521 residents, I believe we have more civic and public events or parties than any other small town in Minnesota. This morning I have invited with me two gentlemen, one who is the director of the National Eagle Center, and he will be with us in a minute or two telling us about the Eagle Center. But to my right is Mike Wynett. Mike is the director of Great River Homes in Wabasha, and also the spark plug behind the Grumpy Plunge. So Mike, I was just going to ask, would you tell us a little bit about Great River Homes, and then maybe about the history of the Grumpy Plunge and anything else that's on your mind?
Well, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. And Great River Homes is a private nonprofit organization that was incorporated 40 years ago. This is our 40-year anniversary. And back in 1975, things were much different for people with disabilities. Quite often they were institutionalized, they were in inappropriate settings, and they did not lead full lives in our communities. And today things have changed a lot, and Great River Homes has helped with that civil rights movement and with community inclusion of people with disabilities. Currently we have 80 employees, and we provide residential and in-home support to 65 people.
Wow.
And the age range is 5 to 80, and varying abilities throughout Wabasha County. And we are a nonprofit organization, and we benefit from the Grumpy Plunge, which is a fundraiser that benefits Great River Homes as well as a Rotary Club of Wabasha. Mm-hmm. And this is our 7th annual fundraiser, and it's held at Slippery's Bar and Grill here in Wabasha during Grumpy Old Men Festival. And last year we had 77 plungers.
77, what's the definition of a plunger?
Anyone who gets wet. Oh. So it can be from the ankle to a total submersion.
Okay.
Whatever you choose. And so they need to get wet. They also need to raise $75. That's a minimum amount they need to raise. And along with that, you get a shirt.
Okay.
You get a free spaghetti dinner.
Okay.
And most importantly, you get bragging rights for plunging into the Mississippi River.
In February.
In February.
But it'll be warming up, won't it, by the end of the month?
The water temperature remains a constant 33 degrees.
Okay.
So we can count on that, but yes.
Yeah.
Today we're in single-digit temperatures, so the likelihood of it being warmer is pretty good.
Mike, as you look back over the last 7 years, what are some of the pictures in your mind that stand out?
Other than ice chunks floating down the river?
Yeah.
The costumes are great, and I can say that the costumes get better every year. People are more creative, and we give awards for costumes, the individual costumes, the team, as well as a couple. And it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you're not plunging, you're welcome to come down and watch.
Mike, in the past, I've noticed a year or two when people would show up in a Green Bay Packer uniform. You think they'll do that this year?
Well, you know, we were robbed a couple weeks ago in the loss to Seattle.
I see.
That was clearly a win we would have had. And we'd already beaten New England, so the Super Bowl was in the palm of our hands.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a long off season.
So maybe many fans will take out their anxiety by plunging in that colder water?
Personally, I only plunge when they win the Super Bowl. And I did do that a few years ago.
Okay.
Viking fans, you know, if they wait, it would be a long, long wait. So I think they will plunge with their uniforms, but I wait for the Super Bowl championship.
Okay, good. Well, I have been part of your plunge and the event for a few years, and there's a great amount of enthusiasm. People come out to watch it. They have a good time. I even remember once someone was having a beverage while they were watching the plunge, and I guess that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, Slippery's does a great job as our host.
Yeah.
They will serve on the patio as well as inside, and we typically have in excess of 500 people watching. So it has great entertainment value.
So we're asking and inviting everyone to join us on February 28th for the 7th annual?
7th annual Grumpy Plunge.
Grumpy Plunge.
It will be at Slippery's
Okay.
at 3 o'clock, and get there early. And people that are coming to the plunge can also partake in activities during the Grumpy Old Men Festival from 8 a.m. until midnight.
Okay.
And some of the events include minnow races, hot dish, casserole, meal, card games, live entertainment throughout the evening, ice fishing contests. There's just a lot going on all day.
It's one of the great celebrations in the community of Wabasha that we have really going on year-round. Mike, I also want to tell you thanks. We're lucky to have you here, not only for the Grumpy Plunge, but truly what you do with Great River Homes for so many people who maybe aren't able to totally take care of themselves. So,
well, thank you very much.
You bet. Thanks for coming over this morning.
It's a privilege to work in this field.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike.
And I got one, if I can interject here.
Yeah.
Covering the Grumpy Plunge and Grumpy Old Men Days from the news standpoint the last couple of years, I've noticed people from all over the U.S. are in Wabasha for the weekend. Last year we had a gentleman from Florida who jumped in, and he told me last year he was coming back this year, so we'll see if he's able to make it. And he just found out about it on the internet. He came across it, and he had some friends that live in this area too, and they said you should come out and try it. So he did. So hopefully we'll bring some more people up this year. And then we had interviewed a gentleman came from Colorado, comes every year for the ice fishing contest.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a long way to go to just sit on the ice. But he has a great time while he's here, and he brought like 5 or 6 people with him. So
David,
see if we get an international flavor this year.
you make a very good point that's well described on the internet. And what's the date again, Mike?
February 28th. It's a Saturday.
The last Saturday of the month. Maybe
Yeah.
that'll be easy to remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is a unique event, as you mentioned, and all of the proceeds of the fundraiser stay local. And it stays within Wabasha, the Wabasha area,
Yes.
helping people with disabilities as well as supporting the mission of Rotary.
Yeah.
And Rotary is a service organization with the motto of service above self, and they do a lot of good in the community. So we partner with Rotary, and I'm a Rotarian, as is Rollin, and we really believe in that organization, and it's just fun to be part of it. Rollin is the announcer. He announces, along with Kelly McDonald, the plungers on the day of the plunge, and helps out in many other ways.
Okay.
So it's a great team effort between
It is.
Rotary and the community. And if I could, I would like to mention our gold sponsors. They do include Baker's Welding, Wabasha Rubbish Removal,
Okay.
California Overland, the City of Wabasha, HBC, and they've been a sponsor all 7 years, which we really appreciate. Paul Bush Auto Center, Perry Dental, and the Rotary Club of Wabasha, Slippery's Bar and Grill, as well as Wabasha Chamber and CVB. And the silver sponsors are the American and Quick Trip and the Bank of Alma. And we do have a dive team, the Olmsted County Dive Team volunteers their services, and they are in the water when plunging is taking place. So it is a safe event and just a lot of fun.
Good. Mike, we'll see you there.
Great. Thank you.
Take care.
You bet.
Good to see you,
Thanks,
Mike.
Dave.
Thank you.
Now we're going to visit with Rolf Thompson, who is the Executive Director of the National Eagle Center here in Wabasha. And Rolf, I'm sure that most people that are viewing this have been in this Eagle Center, but tell us about where we're at and what goes on here, and then maybe you'd introduce the good-looking guy to my left.
Sure. Yes, well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. We're in the rotunda of the National Eagle Center here in Wabasha, Minnesota, on the beautiful Mississippi River, where every day we see bald eagles. And of course, in the winter months, we can see large numbers of bald eagles here, and that's really why the National Eagle Center is here. This 15,000 square foot visitor center opened in 2007. As you know, you were probably at that grand opening, as were many people from the area. And you know, the Eagle Center, we're so proud to have it in Wabasha. It's really a tribute to the whole community that it is here. We attract about 75,000 people a year to this place because it is so unique, and people from, I think last year, 123 countries around the world came to this spot to experience what we in Wabasha see every day, but kind of take for granted, possibly. And we also have 5 live eagles that we call our educational ambassadors, so that our visitors can literally be this close to a live eagle, be inspired, learn about them, and go away just thrilled having seen an eagle this close, as well as our eagles in the wild right outside our windows. We have our education director, as you pointed out, Scott Mayhews, with us today, and I think Scott may have a little quiz for you, Mayor, if you don't mind. Well, you don't have a choice. He has a little quiz for you.
All right.
On January 17th, Mayor, we had our annual Golden Eagle Survey. In fact, we had our 11th annual Golden Eagle Survey, and we had over 180 people out in southeast Minnesota, western Wisconsin, and northeast Iowa, covering 22 different counties looking for golden eagles. Now, these golden eagles are a species that when people come to the National Eagle Center, get to learn a little bit more about. It's a species that most people didn't realize was here in the kind of numbers that this survey that we do here has been finding. But the juvenile bald eagles look a lot like golden eagles, and so we want to make sure that people are identifying them correctly. So everybody who takes part in the survey has to take a quiz beforehand, and so I'm wondering if you'd be willing to take that quiz to see if you might be able to be ready to take a part in the survey next year.
Well, I sure am.
Okay, good. So the first one here is this one. You want to identify this for everybody. What kind of eagle is that?
That would either be a male or female bald eagle.
Wow, I didn't even ask for that. You're right on. Good job, Mayor. Now here's your next question. Here we've got 2 different pictures for you to look at here. Which one of these shows a series of bald eagles, and which one shows a series of golden eagles?
Well, I'm saying the lower one is the golden eagle.
Wow, you are ready for the survey, Mayor.
Are you sure?
Yeah, are you sure though?
Yeah.
I'm sure that that's correct, but I want to make sure you're correct. Because as you can see, they do look very similar, don't they?
Very similar.
They look very similar. And so if people have the time to come on down to the National Eagle Center, they're going to get those ID things that they're going to need to look for. But the first thing people need to realize, Mayor, is where to look. In the 20 years that I've been watching golden eagles here, only once, just once, have I seen one within 30 feet of the Mississippi River here.
Really?
So the golden eagles are not feeding on fish. They're out in the forested valleys where they're feeding on mammals such as rabbits, squirrels, and even birds as large as wild turkeys.
Huh.
Can you imagine seeing Donald, our golden eagle, being able to chase after a wild turkey? That's a pretty amazing predator. Well, back to the numbers of the survey. This year we counted over 137 golden eagles on this year's survey. That's up from last year when we had 112. Now, even though the number of golden eagles are going up, we have to realize that the numbers are going up mainly because the observers are getting getting better, like you're going to get better next year as you do some more ID stuff and you take another quiz. Observers are getting better at knowing where to look because these bald eagles don't sit along the open water. They're not easy to see. The golden eagle, thank you, Ralph. The golden eagles are blending in with the landscape. Because they're going after rabbits and squirrels and turkeys, they really need to blend in with the landscape, and so a little bit harder to see. But thankfully, we were able to see 137 golden eagles. Because we're diligent observers and naturalists, we're also counting other raptors as well. This year, we counted over 640 red-tailed hawks.
Really?
We also, get ready for this, counted over 1,700 bald eagles. 1,700 bald eagles. As we just said a little bit ago, Mayor, the golden eagles are not found near the water, so none of the survey routes are near the water. So over 1,700 bald eagles were seen away from the Mississippi River. It just goes to show you that Wabasha is a wonderful area to see bald eagles. And that's why, as Rolf said, we average over 75,000 visitors a year coming here to learn about both of our eagle species, the bald eagle and the golden eagle.
Scott, I'm rewinding the video back to when I was 10 or 11 or 12 years old, and the bald eagle at that time was sort of in trouble.
It was.
Lots of trouble. So when you tell me that just in a day,
just in one day,
you saw 1,700 bald eagles in the Wabasha area in the community, that's heartening.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, there was a time, Mayor, when there wasn't even 1,700 bald eagles left in the entire lower 48 states.
Yeah.
In fact, between 1963 and 1972 from Wabasha here, all the way down the mighty Mississippi River, 261 miles to Rock Island, Illinois, there was only one nesting pair of bald eagles left. To see those kind of numbers today, when that same stretch of river has over 313 nesting pairs of bald eagles, and the lower 48 today now has over 10,000 nesting pairs of bald eagles, it definitely is amazing success.
In 10 seconds, could you tell me what happened? How did we bring back the bald eagle?
Yeah, in 10 seconds they may be difficult, but we removed DDT from the environment that was causing the eggshells to become thin and deformed, that when the mom and dad eagle were incubating their eggs, they were crushing them under their own weight.
I think what I'm looking for is it probably took the effort of the entire country.
Oh, it did.
Through legislation and observation and motivation to bring these eagles back.
It did, and so even in the days that you were talking about, people were still coming to Wabasha to show their kids and their grandkids an eagle because they didn't think they'd be able to see an eagle ever again. And so they coming to Wabasha, they're still coming today to learn about eagles.
Rolf, when a visitor comes to the Eagle Center, do they actually get to see Scott? Because he seems like he knows so much, you might have him locked in a room.
Some days he does.
Scott knows an incredible amount, but the great thing about the National Eagle Center is every one of our staff and volunteers are so well informed and are almost equally
passionate,
engaging
yes,
as Scott May, who is here. We have people tell us all the time, regardless of who their presenter is, who they interact with, you have great staff, you have great volunteers here, and it happens every day. And every day here, what's so neat about the National Eagle Center is there are stories. People bring their stories to us of having seen a bald eagle. You know, this national symbol of ours that is so important to all Americans, whatever your walk of life. As Americans, as citizens of the world, bald eagles are important symbols, and people have an eagle story. I bet you can remember a story of seeing a bald eagle as a child or a young adult somewhere around here.
Well, my enthusiasm right now is out my back window. There is an eagle's nest, and the last few days we're watching two. We're watching the one on the nest, so that is exciting. When Mike was here, we talked about all the events and all the celebrations that we have in our Wabasha area. Now, I want to say that next month we're going to come right back here to the National Eagle Center, and we're going to talk about a celebration called SOAR.
Soar with the Eagles. You know, you've taken off your grumpy hat.
Right.
And, you know, Grumpy Days is the last weekend of February.
Right.
And then then we turn the calendar page into March, which is Soar with the Eagles in Wabasha, Minnesota. Soar with the Eagles is an incredible celebration of spring migration of eagles back to this area and to their nesting grounds in the north. Every weekend in March here at the National Eagle Center and throughout town there are events, spectacular flying bird programs, as well as our live eagle programs here. So we'll talk more about that next month.
Right.
And we just hope that people will visit Wabasha because it's an incredible experience.
There's a lot going on.
There is a
Rolf,
lot
thanks a
going on.
million.
Thank
Thanks for what you
Mayor.
do.
Thank you for what you do.
And Scott,
Thank you. Look forward to having you on the survey next week.
I'd have to live 9 lives to pick up what you've learned in one on what the Eagle does.
I have fun.
Finally, again, back to HBC, and David, thank you for sharing your time with us and allowing us to talk about the wonderful area of Wabasha, Minnesota.